So look, if you want to grow your wealth, your income, and increase the amount of time off, then these are the shortcuts that can help. Welcome to the Wealth Creation Podcast. Welcome everybody, we are in fact live. Welcome to the Property Cashflow Show. It is Wednesday, I'll just double checking there as I put the thing up, but it is actually a Wednesday Property Cashflow Show, just making sure I know where I am, what day it is and what planet I'm on. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing, which is fine. A little bit chilly out here today in Spain. Yesterday it was very warm, 21, 22 degrees. Today's like 10 or 11. I don't know what's going on there. I was supposed to be doing loads of filming outside, but obviously can't. So doing some filming inside and that kind of thing. But let's just talk about property sourcing. Property sourcing right now is huge. It's like everybody wants to be a property sourcer. However, whilst that's fine, and I love people being property sourcers, they bring me deals. We pass those deals on to other people who buy those deals, or we pass those deals on to other people who can sell those deals as well. So if you've got deals, let me know. We can maybe put you in touch with some people who can help. But property sourcing is hard, and I don't think people kind of understand just how hard it is. You got to understand all the regulations, obviously. And then you got to go out and find the deals, and then you got to go out and find someone to buy those deals, and then you got to get the deals across the line. And so if you literally haven't got a clue what you're doing, it can be really hard, and it is very, very hard. So that's why we created the training. The training gets people from literally zero to hero. They can get through the whole of that training. It's about 95 videos now across 15 different modules. I don't think there's anything that we've missed out. Some of the feedback that we've had is, like, one piece of feedback was that this was better than a 2 or 3 day training course that they paid £2,500 for, which is amazing for 27 quid. Absolutely amazing. So don't let the price put you off. But how can you make money as a property sourcer? Well, this is the thing. Property sourcing I've been doing for about 20 years now. I've only ever really bought one house, one apartment. It was full price. It's still, because the prices went down, so it's still in negative equity. Although the mortgage is less than the value of the property, so it's technically not negative equity. Negative equity for me is if I bought for 250, which I did, how much is it worth? It's worth about 220. That's negative equity for me. I'm still down. Do you know what I mean? Actual negative equity is when, you owe 220, but your mortgage is 230. That's real negative equity. But can you use this for buying rent to rents? Yes, you can. Can you use this for lease options? Yes, you can. Let's just have a look. Oh, brilliant. So we've got someone online, started a course last night. What's your name, by the way? And how is that course going? Let me know. I'd love to know. Hopefully it's going really well, and you don't come on board and say, it's the worst course I've ever seen. In which case I go, for 27 quid, what do you expect? But we know that's not going to happen because we know the course is very, very good. It's action-packed. It's got lots and lots and lots and lots of content. And I know if you started it last night, there's no way have you got to the end of it. But the basic concept is you find someone who's got a problem, okay? You go in and you identify what is that problem. Then when you know what the problem is, you, as the property sourcer or the property broker, you know that there are a couple of different ways of solving that problem, but it really depends on what that problem is. So let's just say that this person has got a financial problem. Let's say that they're in negative equity. Let's just say the house is worth 100, but they owe 110. And you as a property sourcer, you might be going, well, I can't really source that. And then I would question, I would say, well, is there something else that you could do with that type of deal? Could you rent to rent? So could you say, okay, look, I tell you what I'm going to do. How about if I rent this property from you for 10 years? I can't buy it now because it's only worth 100 and your mortgage is 110. I'm not prepared to pay you 110 and pay your mortgage off, because who would do that? Because it's only worth 100 in today's climate. But in 10 years' time, it might be worth 110. So there's two things that we could do. The first thing that I'm going to do is, how about this? How about I rent that property from you for the next 10 years? I give you guaranteed rent. If a tenant puts a hole in the wall or pulls the door off, I'll fix that. But if your boiler breaks down, it's your property still. You need to pay for the new boiler. But I give you guaranteed rent on the first of each month, every month, for the next 10 years. You can go off and, get yourself back on track. And in 10 years' time, we'll chat again and we'll see where we're up to. That's number one. That's a rent to rent. Number two is almost the same. I'll put that on screen in a minute, Craig. So number 2 is almost the same, but this is where you've got an agreement to buy the property in 10 years' time. We call this a lease option, but it's not an agreement as such. It gives you the option of buying that property, but not the obligation. Craig, which bits are a bit fast? Let me know, because we can update those. But it gives you the option of buying that unit, but not the obligation, okay? Which means you can hand the keys in after 10 years and walk away, or you might have agreed, I'll give you £115,000 in 10 years' time. In which case, they're up £5,000, great. They're no longer in negative equity and they've got £5,000 going in the pocket. Now you've got this property that you've got ownership of, okay? And you've had rental from this for the last 10 years. So they're the 2 options on that kind of example. But there are a billion different things going on. Like, what's going on with the person? Look at me, I'm getting all excited because I'm rolling up my sleeves. What's going on with the person? What is the problem that they need solving? And this is what you've got to bear in mind. When you're going into a deal, don't go into a deal and go, okay, how much money can I make on this? Like, that's completely the wrong attitude to go into this, I always think. I go into a deal and I go, what is the problem that I can help solve for this person? And if I can solve this for this person, does that change their life? And usually the answer is yes. Now, if I can solve that problem, the consequence of me solving that problem often, but not always, often is I get paid some money somewhere down the line. It could be as a rent to rent, could be as a lease option, it could be that I package the deal up and I sell it on to someone else and I make £3,500. It just depends what is the deal. And then you're asking yourself, can I multi-let this property? Can I split the title deeds and will the person let me do that? Or, you know, do I need to go in and do some work on this property to bring it up to scratch and then rent it out? All of that can be taken into account, but really you've got to work out what's going on with this person's problem. What is the problem and how can I help? So Craig said it's pretty good. A little bit fast at times, mind you, and my apologies if it's a little bit fast. The reason for that is I always think we're just recording another course right now, actually, about how to create training courses. And I want people to get going quickly. I don't believe in 90 videos, all an hour long. I want people to get moving as quickly as possible. Let me put the link up to it. I want people to get moving as quickly as possible because I want them to take action. There is not enough value in the learning alone. We say that again. The value of learning isn't there. There's a value in taking action. So sometimes we kind of cut through them because I want to get straight to the nitty-gritty as to what you need to be doing, which is you need to be placing the adverts, getting the leaflets out, speaking to as many people, finding the people who've got the property problem, finding the people who are looking for deals, finding the people who are cash rich, time poor, that want to buy those deals, investors in other words. And I want you to get to that point as quickly as possible. And I know that you might be waiting for compliance and all of that kind of thing to go through. That's a really important aspect. But you can still go out and find investors. And I know Tina Walsh, good friend of mine, very good client of mine, and Tina would have a little mini heart attack if she heard me say this. But I want you to go out and find investors right now. Go find people who are going to buy those deals from you. And it's detailed in the training course where all those investors are, how you can get to them. And I get that compliance is going through, but you're not offering any deals just yet. If you're going out and finding investors and you haven't got any deals, but you've got the investors, you can ask the investors and you can find the investors. So if I got you a deal like this, would something like that be worthwhile? And then they might go, yes, in which case, great, get compliant, go find those deals. Or they might go, no, I don't want that kind of deal. And so you'd say, okay, what sort of deal do you want? And they go, I want this deal. I want a HMO with a 12% yield in Leeds for less than 100 grand. And you go, great, let's go find those deals. If I had a deal like that, would you buy it from me? The price would be 3.5 grand or 1,500 quid or £500 or however, wherever you are in terms of your experience. Like if you're a beginner, knock it out for 50 quid just to get the experience in. And they might go, yes. And you go, great, let's do this. And like you could take a £500 holding fee from them and it goes into escrow, which means it's held by a solicitor for 6 months. And if you don't find them a deal in 6 months, they get it back. But if you do find a deal, like, that they're actually serious because they've already coughed up £500. I find it's in an escrow, so it's with a solicitor, so it's not your money yet. It's been held by a solicitor. But something like that would work wonderful. There's so many different options on finding deals, on getting started. And I know that there are plenty of barriers to entry in this industry, but there's only barriers to entry once. That's why it's called a barrier to entry. Fine, there are barriers to ongoing to some extent, but they're not as hard as the barrier to entry. The barrier to entry is much harder. It's like climbing Everest. The first time you climb Everest, that's a barrier. You've never done it before. You don't know what to expect. The second time, it's still a barrier, but at least you know what to expect. The 18th time you've done it, wasn't he a guy and he ran up Mount Everest? He did it like twice in a day or something ridiculous. So the first time he did it, he didn't know what he was doing. Like, one guy went up in his pants. I don't even know if he had shoes on. I think he had shoes on, but he had his pants on and he ran up Everest. And he's like a speedrunner or something. That's crazy. But the barrier for everybody else is huge. For this guy, let's think about this from another point of view. The guys that do Everest, the Sherpas, how many times do you think they've been to the top of Everest? That's like going to the park for those guys, because they've done it so many times. Let's see another comment came in. So I am compliant now, so well done. Tina Walsh is great. Yes, she is. I bought her book a few weeks ago. Absolute most wonderful. And Tina really knows her stuff. She needs to put her goddamn prices up. Tina, if you're listening, you need to do that. Do her one-day training course. If you do get stuck on compliance, highly recommend it. She really knows her stuff inside out and back to front. Like, one thing that I have gaps in my knowledge, I hate anything authoritative. I hate anything official. I hate rules. I hate regulations. I'm just not really very good at that kind of thing. Tina is an ex-cop, as is her husband. I don't even like police officers, but I like these two. For some reason, it's like cats. If you don't like cats, you attract cats. I'm like coppers. I don't like coppers, and I attract them. And I don't know why. I've got a friend of mine who works at Scotland Yard. What the hell is that about? Do you know what I mean? So, so it's just a bit funny for me. But Tina really knows her stuff. And if you're not compliant yet, go on her one-day training course. Absolute must. At one point, you're going to listen to me and double the prices. Which she should do. She just sold out another training course. We do all her marketing, by the way, so I'm proud of the fact that she is selling out her courses, but she needs to double the price. But she really does know her stuff. But the whole point of the training is that you take action immediately. Don't beat around the bush. You don't need to know every little snicket of information. Is that a word? You don't need to know every little thing. I just need to get your goddamn leaflets printed, go speak to investors, get the adverts out on Gumtree. The property training has images you can download. I think, actually, and I need to check on this. I can probably do that now, but I think there's videos that you can actually download as well. Let me go and have a look on the training course. If there isn't videos, that's the wrong one. If there aren't videos, we will create some and add them in, because why the heck not? That you can then upload to your YouTube video. You can upload them to Facebook. There's no copyright on them because we created them and we give them away free of charge. Let's have a look here. Resources. Craig, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure there should be some videos on there. If there aren't, then there should be. Let's go to marketing. Have a look there. Actually, do you know what? I don't think there are any videos. So, if you know, Craig, if there are any videos. So first of all, someone's saying, I'm doing Tina's one-day course this very Saturday in Kettering. Wonderful. Tell Tina to double her prices, will you? Tell her Dan said on one of his Facebook Lives to go double your prices. She will appreciate that. I'm just looking, and it looks like in the course there are not videos for you guys to download. So we're going to change that. We're going to go get a whole bunch of videos, like 5 to 10 videos. And if you're enrolled on the course, you can just download those and you can just simply go and access those upload them to YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, put them on your page, put them wherever you want. And so that's what we're going to do for you. We'll have that as an extra bonus, 10 little videos to be downloaded. I'm pretty sure they're on there. After this session, I'm going to go and actually have another look at that because they really should be on there. And if there's anything else that's missing on there, by the way, let me know. We can update that as well. We've got deal packaging templates, business card examples, non-disclosure agreement, property calculator. That's all in there. Systems, outsourcing. Honestly, can't find the videos. So let's get those done and uploaded. So in terms of how difficult this is, once you get your compliance done, so there are two aspects of difficulty here. The first aspect of difficulty is where you're going to find deals from, and we detail all of that on a training course, of course. But this is the key. There's like this unwritten stuff that's not in a training course. I do talk around it in the mindset aspect. And it's this idea of it's hard work, first of all. Knowing then that it's hard work, you should keep going until you succeed. And most people keep going until they get tired, and therefore they don't succeed. And whenever I've come across obstacles and things that I found difficult to overcome, I've got around them by doubling up the effort, tripling up the effort, quadrupling up the effort, increasing the amount of content that's gone out. So think about this. If I need to put out 1,000, let's rephrase it. If I have to put out 100 pieces of content in order to get some level of engagement, okay, great. So 100 pieces of content equals 1 piece of engagement. So put out 1,000 pieces of content. Now you're going to get 10 pieces of engagement. And by the way, the more content you put out, you get lower returns. But most people are not even anywhere near it. Most people are putting 4 pieces of content out a week. Like, it should be 10 pieces of content a day. Okay? You've got to be putting out so much stuff. And it's the same with your leaflets. If you're just dropping 1,000 leaflets, and I've had this conversation with clients who are coaching clients, and I go, how many leaflets have you dropped? Well, I've dropped 1,000. Oh, okay, great. Is that today? No, that's this week. It's Sunday today. What are you doing? Yeah. Well, I'm going to drop another 1,000 next week. I'm like, dude, you ain't closing any business dropping 1,000 leaflets. That's just not how this game works. Go drop yourself 10,000 leaflets this week. See how that does. We dropped 50,000 leaflets a month when we were doing this full time. Like, lived in the UK, we're dropping our leaflets for our lettings agency. We're dropping our leaflets for We Buy Houses for Cash. We're dropping our leaflets for We Drop Leaflets. So we had a leaflet business that dropped leaflets about dropping leaflets. And then when people wanted their leaflets dropping, we would drop theirs, and we would drop my We Buy Houses for Cash. Let's have a look. So Craig was just saying, your course for us after each written segment. Which particular segment's there, Craig? Because we'll go ahead and fix that. Oh, it's on an iPad Air 2. That's interesting, actually, because we use a bit of software which is not internal. It's an external piece of software. So that could be feedback I need to feed back into them. I've got an iPad on charge upstairs, a very, very old one. It's like 6 years old, which is very old. So maybe I'll just test that on that. That shouldn't happen. Let me know which ones that is. But you said after each written segment, and I'm not sure which written segments they are. Very interesting. Okay, so let's go back here. So it is hard. You've got to double up what you're doing. You've got to put in the effort. It's like to move a boulder. It takes more energy to move the boulder, to get it moving, than it does to keep it going. And so we call that momentum. Okay. So when you're dropping out your leaflets, and it is hard, and you're paying somebody else, it gets much easier, but they find it hard, so you have to inspire them and motivate them and give them a bonus if you get a deal. You've got to keep that going. You've got to keep the adverts going out, so you place 1 or 2 every single day and get into habit of doing it. So, like every Friday, I have a non-negotiable. I play basketball every Friday. I've played it throughout the year, throughout winter, and obviously it's in Spain, so it's a lot drier, but I've literally played it every Friday, except when I've not literally being here in Spain. That is a non-negotiable part of my weekly routine, basketball on a Friday. It should be part of your non-negotiable routine to drop the leaflets, to place the adverts, to do the videos, to do the recordings, to speak to people, to attend every networking event, to go to the Chinese takeaway and put up your advert. These are the non-negotiables. And if you're not doing these, you're not going to be successful. And if we were to talk about how many times does Michael Jordan have to shoot a free throw in order to be excellent at free throws? He's like a 90% free throw shooter. I think Mark Price best ever was like 91.2, something like that. But to get to be the best ever, how many free throws at the free throw line do you think these guys have to shoot in order to be excellent, top of the game, better than everybody else? 100, 1,000, 100,000, a million? That's just in a year. Do you know what I mean? You need to be performing at this level. Craig's just going to send us some screenshots of where it's freezing. Thank you for that, Craig. I appreciate that. But in order to be excellent, like we're talking about Kobe Bryant and the Mamba mentality. You put the work in and you continue putting in the work until you get the results that you want. So this is nothing to do with the mechanics of dropping leaflets and what should go on the leaflet and all this extra stuff. This is to do with mindset. The mindset of a champion is one where they simply do not give up. They never give up. They just keep going and going and going until they get the result that they want. Most people have not got that mindset. Most people keep going till they get tired and then they give up and then they go, no, not for me. It doesn't work. What's the point? This is how you make money as a property sourcer. It's not the dropping of leaflets. It's not the placing adverts online. It's not the networking events. They're all little subsections and you have to do all of them. But ultimately, it's not that. It is this Mamba mentality of never, ever giving up, of working until you get the result that you want. And when you get the result and when you get your first couple of wins, the wins really help. That's why we always suggest, your first deal, just knock it out for 500 quid, get one across the line, build that confidence up. When you've got the confidence up and you go do another 10 at full price, it was worth not paying, not getting full price on that first one just to get that confidence up. That confidence gets sky high. And so we get these little wins, we call them little victories, as you continue to take action and you get these little wins. And don't discount them. Well, it's not a deal. I got a phone call from a vendor, but no, I didn't go anywhere. That, for me, like the fact that it didn't close for whatever reason, like you went all the way up to the edge of where you could have gone on that deal. The only thing that you didn't get was money. But you got everything else. You just didn't get paid in money. You got paid in experience. You got paid in confidence. You got paid in knowledge that what you're doing are actually working. So these little victories, don't discount these. These are really, really important because these are the signposts that you're on the right way, that you're heading in the right direction. Assume property sourcing is very, very hard. If you do that, you'll be on the right assumption. And knowing that everybody else is going to give up when they get tired, you keep going because you're too stubborn. I call it the Forrest Gump effect. Forrest Gump, bless him, was too stupid to know a thing couldn't be done, so he just went and did it. That's the whole concept of that film. At least that's what I took from that film. If you can have the same mentality, you just keep going and going and going. You cannot fail with that mentality. Okay? You either give up or you die. They're the only two things that are going to happen there, or you succeed. And then when you succeed and you see all these other people failing, you know the secret sauce then. You know what's going on. And the secret sauce is that you keep going. All right, that will do us for today. Hope that's useful for you. We are live in the Mastermind group on Friday. And have I got a link for a Mastermind group? I thought I had, but I haven't. But it's daniellatto.co.uk/mastermind. Come and join me in that. If you've got any questions, you can ask them in there as well. Hope you enjoyed today's show. We'll catch up with you on Friday. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care. Hey, it's Dan here. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate each and every one of you. Please click like or subscribe to the entire podcast.